worlds. Nobody talks about that.
Nobody talks about this shit.
Nobody talks about that project.
That's smooth under the rug.
Why?
You see, there's no artist, let me be clear, there's no artist in this industry that's doing major numbers with these platforms that haven't sold.
There are people who did short sales on their stocks right after that, made a lot of money, including Sean Carter. Now I'm going to ask you, why would non-disclosure agreements need to be signed for an accident?
Felonies, I'm not crazy and none of that. It's like, I just want the truth, and it's so hard to get it from the courts. And it seems like Jay-Z don't want to say anything. So, I don't want to see him go down for something that you could have just got taken care of. That's it.
So much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people.
Not just about me. If I got to fight for all of us, I will, but I won't let the court systems just walk over me. I won't let Jay-Z, I won't let no one just walk over me and tell me something because y'all just saying this. I want the truth. And if we can't go to the Supreme Courts, the regular courts, to find out the truth, what are they here for?
Yeah, all right. We'll get to the legal things that you've been through, the battles.
Weirdo. I don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me.
Tonight is a family affair. I saw your mother-in-law so proud of. Yeah, we're going. Yeah.
That major documentary comes out on Diddy, then you're going to start to hear more and more about Jay-Z and his nefarious past.
Oh, no, that was it. No, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
Forget everything you think you know about that glowing 2011 night when Beyoncé unbuttoned her glittering jacket, cradled her belly, and sent the MTV Video Music Awards crowd into a frenzy. The cameras caught Jay-Z's beaming smile. The headlines declared a pop culture miracle. But in the shadows, a different story was already taking shape. Weeks later, grainy footage from an Australian talk show sparked whispers that have refused to die. Beyoncé's baby bump appeared to fold in on itself. A wardrobe quirk? Or the first visible crack in a carefully engineered illusion? Now, over a decade later, the ember of that moment has roared back to life. And this time, the accusations could rewrite the Carter legacy from the ground up. It was one of those rare pop culture moments when the whole world seemed to freeze. The 2011 MTV Video Music Awards were already electric. Flashing lights, roaring crowds, the biggest names in music under one roof. But when Beyoncé stepped onto that stage in a glittering sequin jacket, nothing else mattered. She was radiant, her smile luminous, the air around her charged like a live wire. And then, with deliberate grace, she unbuttoned her jacket, placed both hands on her stomach, and cradled what she called love growing inside. The crowd erupted. Jay-Z, watching from the audience, beamed like a man whose life had just changed forever. Cameras caught Kanye West clapping wildly at his side. Headlines were instant. Beyoncé is pregnant. News outlets from New York to Tokyo plastered the image across front pages. It was more than an announcement. It was a declaration, the fairy tale chapter everyone wanted to believe in. A powerful couple at the peak of their careers, ready to start a family. The moment was perfect, almost too perfect. But perfection has a way of attracting its own kind of suspicion. Just weeks later, a strange clip surfaced online, grainy, slightly out of focus, the kind of footage that conspiracy theorists live for. It came from an Australian talk show, where Beyoncé appeared for a light-hearted interview. As she took her seat, the camera caught something odd. The rounded baby bump seemed to fold in on itself, flattening for a split second before she straightened. It was subtle, blink and you miss it, but the internet didn't miss it. The video spread like wildfire across forums, gossip blogs, and YouTube channels. Theories multiplied overnight. Some chalked it up to the tricks of fabric and camera angles. Others swore it was proof, undeniable proof, that the pregnancy wasn't real. Theories spiraled. Was Beyoncé wearing a prosthetic bump? Was a surrogate carrying the child while she staged the public reveal? The term folding bump was born, and the clip became a permanent fixture in the darker corners of celebrity gossip culture. From then on, the perfect VMA moment was no longer just a feel-good memory. It was a dividing line. On one side, the believers holding tight to the image of a glowing superstar sharing her joy with the world. On the other, the skeptics convinced they had caught a glimpse of something the Carters never intended for US to see. And in the space between those two camps, a question took root, a question that has never truly gone away. For more than a decade, the folding bump clip sat in the background of pop culture, an unresolved oddity, a piece of gossip trivia you might bring up at a dinner party just to watch the reactions. But in early 2025, that old ember caught fire again. The spark? A man named Rymir sat wait, stepping into the spotlight with a story that could blow the Carter empire wide open. Rymir isn't just another internet troll chasing clout. He's been fighting for recognition for years, claiming to be the secret, unacknowledged son of Jay-Z. His case has floated in and out of tabloids, sometimes making headlines, sometimes buried under legal red tape. But this time, he wasn't talking about his own paternity battle. This time, he went for the jugular of the Carter family narrative. In a recent interview, Rymir dropped a bomb. Blue Ivy Carter might not be Beyoncé's biological child. According to him, the entire 2011 pregnancy was staged to protect a secret, that Blue was conceived and carried by another woman, and Beyoncé merely played the role of expectant mother for the cameras. And here's where the folding bump clip becomes more than just gossip nostalgia. Rymir claims it's not just suspicious, it's the visual proof of the cover-up. He alleges that Jay-Z, already juggling personal scandals and legal threats, orchestrated a hush-hush surrogacy arrangement. The public couldn't know, Rymir insists, because it would shatter the carefully constructed image of Beyoncé as the flawless mother, the ultimate symbol of black female empowerment, and the queen whose personal life was as untouchable as her music career. Rymir even hinted that certain people, from hospital staff to inner circle stylists, were paid off or bound by ironclad NDAs to maintain the illusion. His words ignited a storm on social media. For years, fans and skeptics had argued over the folding bump with no fresh fuel for the fire. Now, suddenly, they had a name and a motive to connect the dots. And that's the thing about conspiracy theories. They thrive on missing puzzle pieces. The bump clip was one piece. The surrogacy rumors were another. But with Rymir stepping forward, the picture started to feel uncomfortably complete. A timeline stretching from that glittering night at the VMAs to a 2025 scandal that threatened to rip the Carter fairy tale straight down the middle. Whether his claims are truth, fabrication, or something in between, one thing is clear. Rymir Satwait isn't just throwing stones at the throne. He's trying to drag the entire royal family into the mud with him. And in the world of celebrity image control, that's the kind of move you don't survive without leaving blood on the floor. If Rymir Satwait's claims were the match, the words of a former Carter family nanny are the gasoline. Her name hasn't been splashed across headlines. At least, not yet. But in certain corners of the gossip underground, her voice is already being treated like the Holy Grail. She's one of the few people who allegedly lived inside the Carter bubble during those early Blue Ivy years, when public appearances were carefully choreographed and every photograph was a statement. And according to her, the pregnancy was exactly what the internet's most persistent skeptics have been whispering for years, an elaborate performance. In a private interview, parts of which have been leaked to podcasts and gossip blogs, the nanny allegedly claims she never once saw Beyoncé in the later stages of pregnancy. She describes being hired just before Blue's birth, with her duties centering on preparing a nursery and handling confidential deliveries that came in from undisclosed addresses. She was glowing, sure, the nanny reportedly said, but it wasn't the kind of glow you get from carrying a baby. It was different, like she was playing a role. What makes her account so dangerous isn't just what she's claiming. It's who she is. The Carters have built an empire on airtight privacy. For years, no housekeeper, assistant, or stylist has stepped forward with anything more than vague compliments or tightly controlled anecdotes. Beyoncé's team operates like a fortress. NDAs thicker than steel, loyalty bought and secured through both money and intimidation. For someone to break that silence, even from the shadows, sends a clear signal. There are cracks in the wall. The nanny's words don't just feed the folding bump narrative. They add operational detail. She allegedly recounts a moment when baby Blue was delivered to the Carter home from a private medical facility, with security instructed to block the street and prevent even neighbors from catching a glimpse. She claims that when Beyoncé reappeared in public days later, the postpartum body fans expected was nowhere to be found. This isn't the usual gossip fan speculation. It's insider testimony. It's someone claiming to have been in the house, hearing the phone calls, seeing the choreography behind the curtain. And when that kind of voice speaks, especially against a brand that has thrived on mystery and perfection, it's far more than messy rumor. It's an existential threat to the myth itself. Because if Beyoncé's most celebrated personal moment, the 2011 pregnancy reveal, was staged, what else about the Carter image is pure performance? And more importantly, who else inside that fortress might be ready to talk? Beyoncé isn't just a pop star. She's an institution. For over 2 decades, she's built a career on precision. Every album rollout, every Instagram post, every public appearance feels like it's been studied, rehearsed, and approved by a boardroom of image architects. This isn't accidental. The Carter brand isn't about chaos. It's about control. And central to that brand is Beyoncé's role as the mother. When Blue Ivy was born, it wasn't just a celebrity baby. It was a cultural moment. The birth was framed as the next chapter in a fairy tale love story. The ultimate power couple expanding their dynasty. Magazines printed glowing tributes. Fan pages filled with photos of baby blue blankets and custom diamond pacifiers, and Beyoncé's motherhood became part of her mythos. She wasn't just a hit maker, she was Superwoman. From Blue, the song, to her heart-melting Grammy moments with her daughter in the crowd, motherhood became the emotional anchor in her narrative. It softened her image, gave her vulnerability to match her perfectionism, and made her relatable in a way that was still aspirational. But here's the problem. If the foundation of that motherhood story is false, if the pregnancy was staged, the bump a prop, the baby carried by someone else, then we're not talking about a minor PR hiccup. We're talking about the demolition of the very cornerstone her brand rests on. When you strip away the music and awards, Beyoncé's empire relies on a relationship with the public, one built on the belief that, while she's private, she's authentic in the moments she chooses to share. The folding bump was always a small fracture in that trust, but it was easy to dismiss as an internet conspiracy. Rymir's accusations, paired with insider testimony from someone like the former nanny, don't just reopen that wound, they threaten to shatter it into pieces. Because once the public starts to believe a celebrity lied about something as intimate and personal as childbirth, every other part of their narrative becomes suspect. The love story, the flawless marriage, the image of sacrifice, resilience, and empowerment that's been woven into every project since 2011. And unlike a cheating rumor or a business dispute, scandals that can be denied or outlived, a lie about motherhood digs into something deeper. It feels like a betrayal not just of fans, but of the cultural ideals Beyoncé has come to represent. That's why this isn't just another celebrity rumor. For the Carters, it's a potential brand extinction-level event. And in the high-stakes world of celebrity image management, the only way to survive something like that is to crush it before it grows teeth. If the folding bump was the first fracture in Beyoncé's motherhood narrative and Blue Ivy's alleged surrogacy is the widening crack, then the missing twins rumor is the abyss staring back. It's the theory even the most die-hard gossip sleuths tread lightly around. Not because they think it's baseless, but because it feels like touching it could make you disappear. The story goes like this. When Beyoncé announced she was pregnant with twins in that now iconic 2017 Instagram photo, the internet went into meltdown. The floral arch, the veil, the belly cradled in both hands, it was instantly the most liked Instagram post in history. It was art, it was branding, it was the Carters reminding the world that they were royalty. And when Rumi and Sir were born, we got a single, ethereal photo, Beyoncé draped in robes, holding two swaddled infants against a painted ocean backdrop. It was pure Renaissance imagery, as if she'd stepped straight out of a Botticelli painting. But here's the strange part. Outside of that moment and a handful of blink and you miss it cameos, the twins have been almost entirely absent from public life. No accidental paparazzi shots, no airport spottings, no organic family candidates. Fans who once devoured Blue Ivy updates found themselves asking a quiet, unsettling question. Where are the twins? That's when the whispers started. Some claim one or both of the twins didn't survive infancy, and the Carters chose to quietly erase that truth to protect their brand from tragedy. Others believe the children exist, but live almost entirely out of sight, possibly even with separate caregivers, because they were carried by a different surrogate arrangement and never meant to be part of the public narrative. What fuels the fire are the so-called lyrical clues. Lines in Beyoncé's songs that some fans interpret as coded grief or subtle omission. References to 3 hearts instead of 4. Visual metaphors in her videos. An empty crib. A lone child walking away from shadow. Critics call it pareidolia, seeing patterns where none exist, but to believers, these are Easter eggs in plain sight. Then there are the industry whispers. Anonymous music insiders claim the NDAs surrounding the Carter household after the twins' birth were the most aggressive they'd ever seen. Ironclad legal documents with clauses specifically forbidding staff from discussing any child-related matters. Former employees allegedly had to hand over personal phones during shifts and were banned from even acknowledging the twins' existence online. It's this blend of poetic breadcrumbs, airtight secrecy, and total absence that makes the missing twins theory the most radioactive of all. You could talk about the folding bump. You can even speculate about Blue's birth. But the twins? That's the red line. It's the one theory that, if true, could unravel everything in a way no PR machine could spin. Because if the Carters have been lying, not just about one pregnancy, but about the very makeup of their family, then the entire empire starts to look less like a fairy tale and more like a meticulously staged play. And in the world of celebrity mythology, there's nothing more dangerous than an audience starting to see the stage lights. If Beyoncé and Jay-Z are the king and queen of their carefully guarded empire, then Tina Knowles is its watchful sentinel, smiling for the cameras while quietly holding the keys to the vault. To the public, Mama Tina is everything you'd expect from a doting grandmother. She gushes over her grandkids on Instagram, posts playful videos of herself doing TikTok dances, and leaves sweet comments under Beyoncé fan pages. She's the soft Southern presence in a dynasty built on diamond-hard PR. But people close to the family will tell you, Tina is more than just a loving mother. She's the quiet enforcer. Long before Beyoncé was a household name, Tina was running her own fashion business and managing the Destiny's Child image right down to the stitching on their costumes. She understood the power of presentation, and more importantly, the danger of letting outsiders control the narrative. That instinct has only sharpened in the billionaire Carter era. When it comes to protecting Beyoncé's brand, Tina has allegedly played the role of fixer, confidant, and, when needed, gatekeeper. According to one insider, if someone in the family's inner circle starts getting ideas about talking to the press, Tina is often the first phone call. She's been known to personally show up, not with threats, but with a velvet-gloved kind of persuasion. A reminder of loyalty, a gentle but unmistakable warning about the legal and personal consequences of breaking it. In the context of the motherhood rumors, the folding bump, the surrogacy whispers, the missing twins theory, Tina's role becomes even more intriguing. She's been present for every public-facing family milestone, often as the warm maternal presence hovering just off stage. But she's also, allegedly, one of the only people who knows exactly what happened behind closed doors. The duality is striking. In interviews, she's all laughter and family pride, reinforcing the image of Beyoncé as a hands-on, glowing mother. Yet, according to gossip blog sources, she's also the one who signs off on what family content gets shared, which photos are approved, and which stories die before they ever reach a headline. If Beyoncé's motherhood narrative is the bedrock of her public identity, then Tina Knowles is one of the last lines of defense protecting it. To challenge the Carter image is, in effect, to challenge Tina, and people in the industry know better than to cross her. Because while Beyoncé has mastered the art of silence, Mama Tina has mastered the art of making sure silence stays unbroken. And if the whispers about surrogacy or missing twins ever prove true, it's not just Beyoncé's legacy that would crumble. It's Tina's life's work. The empire she helped build, the myth she's nurtured for decades, could all come crashing down. Which is why, to some, Tina isn't just the grandmother in the family photo. She's the vault, and whatever's locked inside, she intends to keep it sealed forever. This isn't just idle celebrity gossip. It's a live wire running straight into the heart of one of the most valuable personal brands in the world. Beyoncé isn't just a pop star. She's a cultural archetype. For millions, she represents the blueprint for modern Black excellence, flawless artistry, unshakable work ethic, and picture-perfect family life. And the motherhood narrative? That's not a footnote. It's the crown jewel. Blue Ivy's birth was marketed as a miracle moment, a fairy tale that turned into a generational story. The twins, Sir and Rumi, became proof that the dynasty was thriving. Every stage performance, every Netflix special, every Ivy Park rollout has subtly woven in the image of Beyoncé as not only a performer, but as a mother. When you pull at that thread, when you introduce the possibility that some of it might be staged, manufactured, or rewritten, you're not just challenging her personal story. You're shaking the foundation of $1 billion enterprise. Endorsement deals, music sales, film projects, and brand partnerships all hinge on the trust and aspirational image that Beyoncé's name carries. And here's where the cultural shift comes in. We're in an era where decades of image building can be unraveled in days. Not by the mainstream press, but by anonymous TikTok accounts, Reddit threads, and Twitter sleuths armed with old video clips and a knack for pattern recognition. The folding bump clip is over a decade old, but in today's environment, it's not just a forgotten curiosity. It's a loaded piece of evidence waiting for the right viral spark. If one credible voice, an ex-nanny, a disgruntled relative, a rogue former friend, decided to talk without fear of legal retaliation, it could detonate the narrative that has kept the Carter empire untouchable. Not just in gossip circles, but in boardrooms, at brand strategy meetings, and in the halls of music industry power. Because if the perfect story falls apart, it's not just Beyoncé's personal brand at stake. It's the symbolism. The carefully maintained image of the untouchable Black power couple could be replaced with something far messier, far more human, and far less profitable. And yet, here we are. More than a decade later, the rumors haven't died. The surrogacy theory, the missing twins whispers, the inside testimonies, they just keep circling back like they're on some kind of cultural orbit. If this is all just myth, if it's nothing but the fever dream of internet conspiracy theorists, why is it so persistent? Why does it never fully fade, even when Beyoncé herself refuses to acknowledge it? Maybe the truth is already out there, scattered in interviews, hidden in plain sight in lyrics, tucked away in that one too-perfect Instagram photo. Maybe it's just waiting for the wrong person to speak at the wrong time. And when that happens, the question won't be if the Carter brand survives, but what it becomes in the aftermath.